welcome. This is Kevin, also known as AWOL. And today we are making this cute little bracelet that was something that came from a photo. It was over on Reddit. Somebody was asking for a pattern for this. And so I put together a pattern for it. Um, it's really cute. I have it in my hands in case you're wondering what I'm looking at. It's really cute. When you start, you have to shift the two purples over to the right and the white and the black over to the left. I know in the pattern that I did, I had it to where like one of the light greens were on one side and then the dark greens were on the other. But it turns out you really don't have to do that. It just makes for more swapping, unnecessary. Just put them and then let the colors go the right directions. It's easy peasy. Um, you'll have to look at the pattern obviously for that. But then um, beyond that, one of the things I found to sort of make it easy was okay. First off, you it the pattern itself does not lend itself very well to doing any kind of segment knotting. You can't just work in an area and go with it. So I found that kind of coming across kind of like a candy stripe ish kind of thing was sort of the way to make this easier. That said, when the white had kind of come out and then the black is sort of doing its thing, you can kind of work that area a bit. And you'll see that, throughout here, like I really do try to find the easiest ways of doing any portion of this. But it's one of those slightly problematic patterns. Uh, when it came to like the purple though, I did try to keep going always to the right. I didn't zigzag it on the sides or anything. I kept it going to the right. Um, some people would say that's kind of using a straight edge technique. It's really just trying to have some form of consistency of trying to, make that happen nice. It turns out pretty straight. I mean, there's no, I guess, show you guys the front side. It turns out all right. Um, it's not terribly hard. In fact, so I had to look at the pattern a lot, and I kind of felt like there were times where I was going to get confused and not sure of where I was in the pattern. But it changes enough that it was like, oh, I can see I just did this, so I must be here, then I must have to do this next. So there was no need to like check things off or anything like that. It was relatively easy to um nail off whatever parts. It's relatively small, right? So there's only like 10 strings. So that it went kind of quick. The whole thing took an hour to make. So that was kind of nice. Um, but, boy, and this is a big one. The the white and the black strings get used uh, too much. Too much for this. Now, mind you, I think when we were setting up the template for this, I may have shifted the sender down just a little bit in order to get it on the right line or whatever. And then so it's a little bit longer than some of my other bracelets, but even that, like that's a tiny amount compared to how short the strings are when we get to the end of this. So as much as I kind of like this, it is a little bit unfortunate. So I ended up making it so there's only one tassel. I did this thing where, you know how I bring my strings in and I kind of bunch it? The last string, I kept going, I went over to the right hand group, went to the left hand group, went to the right hand group, went to the left hand group. Did that several times to really cinch together that end point. And then I left the black and the white out and I braided up everything else. And then I snipped the black and white off really short. And that's how I have a nice tassel. Doesn't really show where the black and white went, but it works. It's not my favorite way of doing anything like this. It's it's a stopgap essentially. It's a way for me to still be able to give the thing away. I'm not gonna put it in my shop, to be honest. It's just I get disappointed when the tassels aren't nice. So, but that said, it is a cute little bracelet. I can kind of get it. I could also kind of see maybe changing up the colors a little bit because it could be really fun. Like, because to me, I don't know what you guys see in it with the it's like a really light green and a slightly darker green and a purple, but I could see like a sky scene with it. Maybe like make it like a light medium and a darker blue, and then it would look more like the sky. And then maybe change the black for a brown. Maybe I don't know. And maybe if you're gonna do that, then maybe you turn the grays into like a green, perhaps, so that you could get really kind of go in on the whole mountain terrain. I don't know. It's just yeah. I could see it trying to be something different, and I think that might be kind of cool. I don't know if I'd do the white as like snow caps to the mountain or what, but it's kind of cool. But I would do it just a little bit shorter, so that way it turns out okay. Or I mean, 1/3 length of string is pretty darn long. I don't think I would want to try to cut my floss. Like, what are you going to do? Cut it in half? I mean, that's crazy long. That's my shoulder hurts just thinking about like trying to do strings that long. Like that's I don't know. I there's not really kind of too much that you could do to alter the pattern. Well, I say that maybe if the mountain kind of cut off at the beginning and the end kind of really early and that you just had the other colors playing in there, um maybe that would be enough to have saved it. I don't know, because that is definitely a possibility. You can definitely zigzag those around in there enough to make it so those are hardly even noticed. I don't know. There's again, I like the pattern. I think it's interesting. I just not sure. So, anyways, this is going to end really abruptly, guys. So, I do want to thank my Patreon supporters as well as my YouTube members who make this stuff possible. I like answering the questions of how to do patterns and stuff for people. I like the fact that I have a community of people who send me interesting things like the blindsided creations and ideas for things to work on. I I think I'd be lost without you guys. So honestly, the fact that there are those that contribute to help keep this thing going really does mean the world to me. So guys, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. So so yeah, mind you too, I made this um while actually live streaming. You guys might not know this, but I do live stream for members over on the YouTube. So if you become a YouTube member, it's next to the like there's the subscribe button, and then next to it it says join, and that's I think if you click on the join, you might even get like a little preview video that kind of tells you like what we do and what that's all about. And yeah, so I was watching videos and tying knots and and then with if during the making process, obviously I can chat and talk directly to anybody that's throwing in comments and stuff. So that's kind of fun. So just a heads up, it's a thing that could be kind of fun. I was a little bit surprised that the light green does not get used very much. It's barely like in the lowest valleys. That's it. The darker green got used, frequent. Um, but yeah, the lighter green, I was I don't know why. Like I made the pattern. I should like have recognized that that's sort of a thing, but then yeah, it just doesn't really show up all that often. I imagine you could do some fun stuff. Like if you made this like a double wide, that could be kind of interesting, right? If you put the mountains kind of back to back, that might look kind of neat. I don't know if you'd put the sky side, like the purple side. I don't know. I mean, you guess you kind of could. Yeah, yeah. If you guys are really curious how those kind of things turn out, or what, how to do it, or whatever, let me know. It's something we can cover. I did a whole series of like how to basically make anything a double wide. So if you're interested, go back and check out that whole playlist, and it covers a lot. But I don't think I did a lot in line with this kind of stuff. There was one. It looked like waves, and somebody's like, "Oh yeah, you can do anything double wide. How about this one?" And I was like, "That, let's do it." And the options, the way that that came out was so fascinating. It was so weird. Um, One version actually kind of looks like the rebellion forces from Star Wars. And I absolutely loved that bracelet. I thought that was like the coolest, funny thing to ever come out of a challenge. And yeah, so if you guys end up with questions, things like that, it does make for good content. It makes for fun, you know, getting me to try something that, because I never know. I never know what it is that you guys are going to be interested in, and I do this for you. I I can already make the bracelets. I can already make pegs. I can make a lot of stuff. Um, I want to make it so that way you guys can as well. So there you go. Hopefully, hopefully you guys will see some of this stuff, get all inspired, try making something neat, and yeah, that's the end goal, right? So yeah, and mind you, as much as I'm trying to inspire you, you guys are welcome to try to inspire me. If there's a pattern that you love and you would like to see me, take and do something with it or try doing it differently or whatever it is, hit me up. I like a good challenge. I think there's a lot of things that could be a lot of fun to challenge me with, honestly. I'm I've got some really doozies coming up. I'm really kind of excited about some of the prospects of uh, the work that I'm going to be doing. Got some big projects, which I don't even know how I'm going to fit that in because of the daily content. It makes doing some of the bigger ones a little bit more difficult. Well, I say a little bit, a lot more difficult, right? If I have like some of those tube bracelets I was doing, those things take a day to make a bracelet. And then I still have to put together the videos and I have to do there was a one video with 2 days of actual making the bracelets, and then I had to spend I don't know how many hours actually putting together the whole video and stuff. So I mean that was something. That was crazy. I don't know. Just just for it's a good video. I think if you haven't seen that, you should go check it out. That was a lot of fun. Um, but yeah, crazy, crazy stuff. Oh, and did I mention the that YouTube subscribers, they actually get any of the published videos, they actually get those early. So, um, if you're curious as to what's coming up in the future, or you wanted to see like the ornaments that won't come out until November, that's all over there with the YouTube members. So it's like $5. Well, less in places like America and England and stuff like that because it's $5 Singapore. So it's like $4 USD. So not a bad price for, being a part of the exclusive club, you get the little smiley face thing next to when you do the comments. So that's kind of neat. I don't know. I think it's cool. I think it's a a very reasonable price. So hey, we are getting really towards the end. This is like the last little bit here. Oh, and take a look at how short that string is. I'm like really struggling to tie the knots with like that black string and the white string. So terrible. So crazy. So yeah. Yeah, not my favorite way of ending something. But at least it all worked out. Trying to see. Yeah, there's the yep, and then that's the end of the purple. Yeah. All right, guys. Big reveal coming up. Thank you very much for watching this long. I really do appreciate it. It's really helps the channel, believe it or not. So thank you very much. And as always, don't get your strings in a bunch.